Hi guys, Matthew with Parkway Business Solutions, and we are still on the hunt for the next latest greatest webinar application that's going to hopefully help us take our videos up another notch from doing Zoom meetings. So today I want to show you guys BigMarker. We're going to dive in from behind the scenes, show you the different settings, features, functions that it can do, and then we'll dive into a quick webinar itself so you can see some of the capabilities from that as well. What I've done is I went in and I actually tried to set up a good portion of the functionality of a webinar so I could show you all of the true details. So what I mean by that, I'm on my home page at the current moment. If I go to my webinars here, we would then see any of the different types of webinars that we could do. What I mean by that is if I go to create webinar here, we have the ability to do a live webinar, which is basically happening at a specific time or can be a recurring basis. On-demand webinars is really where you can publish or embed this stuff to be watched at any time. So it's like, well, on demand. Automated webinars would be programming. It's a program where you pre-record a webinar to be triggered to go live. So basically you have a short webinar that anytime somebody registers to it, they can watch it whenever they want. Then live stream is the most common one that I would probably be using, where it's your live streaming to Facebook, YouTube. What I really love about this functionality is it gives you the ability to ingest an RTMP feed, which means I have the ability that I can actually use my Mevo as a camera and stream straight into BigMarker. It's a really cool functionality. Then you have your webinar series. This would be if you created quite a few different webinars, you can combine them together and then make it into a series where you could sell them that way under one specific registration. Evergreen webinars is something that's basically replays on a recurring basis, so it's going to be content that's always relevant, that just can repeat. And then your 24/7 is your always open online conference room. So what we're doing today is we did the live stream. So this is the functionality of everything else that you can do on the backside. Before we dive into that, let's click on our view landing page. And this is a lot of the information that we customized. So every time you create a webinar like this, you have the ability to create a custom landing page, your own logo, your own imagery that you want. They have a couple different templates that could be used, company information. So here somebody can register. It shows the time, when it would be done. I can put my own about information into this, all my details. Where pricing is actually pretty cool. You can do it either as free, paid, or by donation. Any of those three that you would wish. Who can attend? Everyone. Webinar ID for you. You can hide that or show that. You can choose whether people can dial in or not. There's even features where you can set up to keep people from sharing their link. So if you have specific links to each person that's registering, they cannot use it a second time. They can't share it to somebody else. You can also make it to where if they don't show up on time or if they show up late, they cannot get in also. Of course, you can have agenda show up here, categories, and then the hosted by is the page basically it's doing that. We set up featured presenters with bios and links to social media throughout all of this. And then I really kind of dig this too. You can add conversation areas on where I actually set up for the webinar some polls that I can have the ability that they can be answered before you even get into the webinar. And you can actually choose, like I set it up to where just this one could be answered before the webinar. And then I have two more polls that would be asked during the webinar itself. So you can obviously, let's see. Oh, wow. In the conversation, you can even create, looks like you can create your own polls for people to ask or be asked. So if I come back to the top here, we'd have our link to share with people. Let's go back to our manage webinar now. And this is where a lot of the settings are. So I'm going to try to go through some of this kind of quickly on purpose for everybody. When I'm coming through here, we've got our primary dashboard, of course, manage webinar registrations. So you can create different tracking codes for the different types of registrations that are going to be coming through. So if you're putting on an event with multiple people, this is a great way to really see what's generating leads. You can do one for LinkedIn, you can do one for Facebook, Twitter, and see where your best engagement is at. You can also do custom fields for registration time-wise. SEO sharing tags. So this gives you the ability that you can create your Facebook tag, your images, and your Twitter tags, of course. Confirmation page. Once a person is registered, this is the confirmation page, what it would look like. You can customize this as well. Share a link with friends. Cancel, of course. Nobody would ever do that, of course. Let's see here. And as you can see, these are the areas that you can be changing the details. So if I want to add a MP4 video, I can do this. Come in, choose a video. So if we've got here, we'll go save and exit. So waiting room, you can fully customize, make it look the way you want. Again, add on your own video type stuff. So if people can register, or they can join the waiting room anywhere between 15 minutes and 30 minutes ahead of a webinar. So you could put a loop of video in there as people are showing up. It would keep replaying and playing and playing to give kind of a precursor of what the webinar is going to be about. Build some momentum off of it, of course. Push notifications, so this will actually integrate to Slack to give you push notifications there. You can do SMS as well, and it looks like iOS pushes also. Chat spam protection. Interesting. So you can add certain words and phrases that would cause offense, and then you can ban the person after a certain amount of time. That's pretty neat. And then for preload information, you can preload different offers into here. You can preload different files and videos, even handouts, as well as the polls. Now, the offers, this is a really, really cool feature. This basically makes it to where, and I'll show you in the webinar area, but you can have it automatically show up during the webinar to give somebody a specific offer. You can make it time sensitive. So they've only got 15 minutes, something of that nature, to be able to answer, of course. Preload files and videos. So this basically makes it to where once you're in the actual webinar, it becomes a lot easier to very quickly share a video. So if you know you're going to do some kind of video, you can upload all of this stuff ahead of time. You can upload PowerPoint presentations, and it will even integrate with PowerPoint. Preload handouts, different types that you can do. You can auto share with the attendees, and you can also make it to where these handouts are accessible through the landing page also. And then the preload the polls. These were ones that we added in. One is added to where it can be answered before you from the landing page. The other one is inside of the webinar itself. Then there's these different widgets, which would be basically you can have this little widget code you can add on to your website and have something that looks just like this show up on your site wherever you would like it to show up. You can customize all the details there as well. Pop-up widgets, same kind of concept. Again, your design, you've got the ability, you can do full design of the landing page, your conference room, as well as your webinar preview card. They've got different templates to choose from that you can preview, or you can create your own basically and save that as a default also. Now that we've got everything set up here, we've gone through very, very quickly some of all the details and such. We'll go back to Manage Webinar. Let's go to Enter Online Event. First thing we're going to have, of course, like usual, we're going to do Join by Computer. I am going to choose, of course, computer audio. I've got my microphone I want on. We're going to choose the output that I want. We're good there. And our web camera will turn on. Webcam that I want. You do actually have the ability through here as well that you can play with your background settings. You can even, they've added on some functionality to make it where it's kind of like an automatic green screen. It still needs a little bit of work to make it really get to the level I would be wanting it to be at though. Okay, so at the moment we're showing our screen, which is why you're getting the mirror, 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 mirror effect. So we can demonstrate some of this stuff for you, of course. But this is basically what the back end looks like for a webinar. When you're inside of this, you have the ability that you can actually do a chat control, public. You can do public chat. You can do between just the two presenters if you want to, private chat between different people. You would just choose a person and start a private chat that way, or even Twitter. You can connect your chat with Twitter so you can tweet this stuff out, which is pretty cool. So you can actually do live tweets. Your Q&A questions here, this gives the ability that anytime somebody's asking a question, testing the questions, any question that shows up here, you actually, this is pretty neat. You have the ability to upvote the questions. You can publish and you can even answer those. So if we go answer the question, it works. So now it'd be into your answered, of course. Now with your polls, the polls we've got here, we can do start polling, and this will populate up the poll question for other people to see, of course. And people will have the chance to yes or no, see the percentages. You can go back to your queue, of course, and then you would be able to choose to be able to close this out as well. So close the poll out real quick. Go queued. Handouts, these are the different handouts or offers. So the offers is something I really, really dig. Let's go to share an offer. I already have this one saved, so I'm going to click on send, and I like to do this slide out so it's something a little bit smaller. Offer expires in 15 minutes, and go boom. So you're literally going to get this little pop out right here, which is just awesome. Reactions is another thing that you have under the host controls. You can turn reactions on, which means you now have these little indicators down at the bottom here. We'll get rid of this. And with that, you can also have it set up with the reactions if you wanted to show the different percentages or display count of how many people voted for what. So if I go like this, now I've got a 1-up, so you can see that number growing and such. Additionally, other audience permissions and such, you've got the enable chat panel, publish all Q&A, enable the polls, enable handouts, enable all attendee mics, and all attendee mics and cameras. So people that you invite in would be able to be on their mics and cameras also, or you can turn this off as well. You can change people into their different roles, whether the presenter to an admin, so forth. And then at the very, very top here, we also have so that's our audience. We have a recording, so we can start to record right away. Now we're recording it. We can see at the top here. Automation would be, I'm not sure what the automation webinar would do. And then so you could broadcast HD, choose your bit rate, so the higher bit rate, better quality, of course, the camera sizes, and even more advanced controls as well. You've got your log, which shows the different details of what you've done. Now at the top here, let's go to video, and I've already put this one in, so let's just go straight into playing this video. So it's connecting to it. Now this doesn't actually have any audio on it, but if it did, we would actually have the ability to unmute it here, could play through very simply, which is great. So again, if you've got a presentation you need to add into it, it just makes it so much easier. We can share files in here as well. So let's open this one. It does recommend that you use a PDF to keep the quality of the look that you would want. So if I come through, we can go full screen. And just seeing everything that you'd like. You can draw on this stuff as well. We can now, as you can see, we've got our camera, our video, so forth. We can just click on video to go right back to video if we wanted. Or we can go to camera, of course. The RTMP, this is that custom address that you can have send the signal into, which is, again, great. You can choose to share your screen. Again, the offer, if we go to more, you can actually even change the language on all this stuff. So if I want to go from this to Spanish, I can, and it's going to literally translate all of the language on the page to Spanish. Come back, go back, and that's an individual setting. Each person can do that. We definitely feel that this will end up being a good application to view in comparison to like Zoom. I really like the fact that you can do the offers built right into it. I think that's a really, really cool feature. I also like the fact that we can fully customize the different landing pages, that I can ingest the video signal the way I want. I mean, that is such a powerful tool for me. Again, having something like a Mevo or my OBS software, I can actually feed video straight into that and have that as a source, which is really, really cool. So again, here's hoping that this quick demonstration is helpful. And as always, here's wishing you a very successful week.